Los Angeles public schools shut down today over a case of the jihad jitters. Pat Buchanan warns that Republican bigwigs plotting against Donald Trump may be committing political suicide. And JihadWatch's Robert Spencer was delayed at a Toronto airport for 3 hours because he was suspected of being in possession of hate speech. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book Real Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Item from Fox News. All of Los Angeles' public schools were closed Tuesday due to a credible terror threat, officials said. The emailed bomb threat apparently came from overseas late Monday and was directed to a member of the LA Unified School District Board of Education, a law enforcement official told the Associated Press, speaking on condition of anonymity. It's unclear which school board member received it, but the situation prompted the district to close all schools effective immediately and order students and staff to stay away from all campuses. Police and the FBI are investigating. School Superintendent Ramon Cortines said every school in the 640,000 student district would be searched. The district, the nation's second largest, includes more than 900 schools and 187 public charter schools. It covers Los Angeles as well as all of parts of 31 smaller municipalities and employs nearly 60,000 people. Unquote. All because we're afraid of Muslims. Why would we be afraid of Muslims? Oh yes, now I remember. Because they live here among us. And their holy book commands them to wage unceasing war against all of humanity by any means necessary. 900 schools plus 187 public charter schools, all now must be investigated, all searched. 640,000 kids deprived of a day of education, all because we got the jihad jitters. Well, my friends, there's a way to get rid of the jihad jitters. And we all know what the way is. And America won't choose it. Even a half step towards that, Donald Trump saying we got to stop Muslims from coming to this country, uproar, controversy. My friends, we're at war. If you didn't know that until now, then allow me to be the harbinger of bad news. We're at war. The soldiers fighting against us, trying to kill us, aren't only there, they're here. They're here among us. Ask the people who ran in the Boston Marathon. Ask the folks in San Bernardino. Ask the soldiers at Fort Hood. They're here. And they want to kill us. And while they're here, we've got the jihad jitters. We're afraid of our shadows. My friends, that is no way to live, no way to conduct business in the greatest country in the world. I say we do something about it. You know who else says we should do something about it? Item from Politico. Donald Trump just got a little more vault in his ceiling. Nationwide, the polling-obsessed Manhattan multi-billionaire and leading Republican presidential candidate broke into the 40s on Monday. According to the results of the latest Monmouth University poll surveying voters identifying as Republicans or independents leaning towards the GOP, Trump earned 41%, nearly tripling the support of his closest rival, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who took 14%. Unquote. Remember, my friends, the Republican debate's going to be on tonight. I hope that you watch it. I like Donald Trump. I like Ted Cruz. I think that America would be well served with either of them. Between the two of them, Donald Trump is much more of a disruptor, and so I'm pulling for him. But Trump or Cruz, I think would be good news for America. And believe me, America is due some good news. Item from Breitbart. Monday on Fox News Channel's Your World, conservative commentator Pat Buchanan said if reports are true that there's a plan for the so-called Republican Party establishment to stop a Donald Trump nomination with a brokered convention, it would be, quote, political suicide. Buchanan said, quote, if the establishment, as they had that gathering at the Source restaurant on Capitol Hill, attempts to frustrate the nomination of Donald Trump if he won the most delegates in the most states, I think that would be political suicide for the Republican establishment. If you track the anti-establishment vote, you have Cruz, Carson, and Trump. You're talking about 70% of the party. The establishment is being repudiated by the party, and to see the establishment attempt to reimpose one of its own on the party would tear the party in half. Buchanan added, quote, let's say Donald Trump comes into the nomination leading in delegates and votes, and Cruz is second, Rubio's third, Carson's fourth. What happens is the Donald calls up Cruz and says, would you like to be my vice president in return for your delegates? If Cruz says no, the Donald says, what is Senator Marco Rubio's phone number? And so the two leaders would get together with enough to win it, get together as the ticket. This is 10 minutes to midnight for the establishment, and really what they're talking about is not only absurd, it's stupid because of the message it's sending to this party, unquote. Well, my friends, I can tell you the message that the Republican and Democratic Party establishments have both been sending for many years. They're sending the message that they don't really care what you and I think. They may talk about grassroots support and pleasing the base. When it comes right down to it, they don't give a rat's ass about us. They got their donors, they got their public, they've got their public donors and private donors. They've got their lobbyists, they've got jobs waiting for them. Those are the people they need to please. You and I aren't even on the list. They're going to put forward the candidates that they want to. And if America says we want Trump, they'll say no. If America says we want Cruz, they'll say no. That's the way party politics works in America today, my friends. And it's disgusting. Item from the Rebel News. JihadWatch's Robert Spencer says he was delayed at the Toronto airport for 3 hours because he was suspected of being in possession of hate speech. Spencer explained in the speech how authorities went through his luggage and examined every little thing, including his prescription medication. He joked that by the time authorities pulled a Quran, quote, now they were getting to the hate speech. Eventually, a co-worker of the man going through Spencer's luggage came over and started asking if he ever spoke in Europe. Spencer told the man where he spoke in Europe, including Germany, which shocked the man interrogating Spencer. They have strict hate speech laws in Germany, he said. At that point, Spencer knew all the delays were about. My friends, free speech is now on the verge of becoming a crime. It's Tuesday, it's Real Truth. Free speech is no crime on this show, and I'll be back.
We don't know that our government is out of control. Who are the people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's service, not the people's masters? Officials in the government must be made accountable for their actions. Accountabilityrevelation.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. Accountabilityrevolution.com. Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit with an air of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming, and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
All right, guys, welcome back. Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth. And like I said, the Republican debate is tonight. People want to know who the conservatives are. Is Donald Trump a true conservative? Is he as conservative as Ted Cruz? What the hell do conservatives believe in anyway? Well, here's my buddy Bill Whittle on Afterburner. He's about to tell us exactly that. Let's listen. Bill Whittle is correct. Conservatism does kick ass. It is infinitely better than the alternative, and the alternative is represented by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Item from Jews News. A 34-year-old immigrant from Somalia was arrested for savagely attacking a woman next to a parking garage of a Sheraton hotel in Sweden. The woman died while being raped. Police say the perpetrator continued to rape the woman's corpse well after she died. The Somalian was apprehended by police while still in the act of raping the murdered woman. Sweden and Norway are in the middle of a massive epidemic of violent rapes. Crime statistics show rapes in both countries are overwhelming. Unquote. My friends, questions. Do you want that here? Sweden has become the rape capital of Europe because it's taken in so many Muslims. Question, again, do you want that here? Well, if you're thinking, well, gee, I guess I don't, congratulations. You've made a very, very good choice. Now we come to step 2. What are you going to do to make sure it doesn't come here? Item from the Political Insider. The police immigration service, while registering the Muslim refugees, noted that their cell phones were filled with graphic photos of Islamic State executions and severed heads. The police have noted that with limited resources, the massive explosion of refugees means that little, if any, security checks take place while they enter the country. Officers are working overtime and searching their belongings, which is when they found hundreds of examples of photos and videos of executions and brutal punishments, such as images of people holding up severed heads or hands. They also found countless ISIS flags and symbols that represent other terrorist groups. Norway's head of the asylum program, Erik Haugland, noted that it's likely some of the individuals support or are affiliated with terrorists. ISIS has already made it clear that they will use the Syrian refugee crisis to inflict terror throughout the Western world. Meanwhile, an ISIS manifesto released earlier this month boasted of plans to exploit the migrant crisis to sneak jihadists into Europe. It's already emerged that at least 3 of the groups that carried out the Paris attacks in November had disguised themselves as refugees in order to enter Europe. This includes Abdulhamid Abaoud, who masterminded the plot and was later killed in a police raid on his hideout in the Parisian suburb of Saint-Denis. The forged documents were found at the scene of one of the suicide bomb attacks at the Stade de France, fueling further speculation that ISIS may have a ready source of blank passports. Unquote. By all means, what America needs most is more Muslims here. Absolutely. Who could take issue with that? We'll be back.
How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's service, not the people's masters? Liberty Farm and the Free Rider say officials in the government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981. Grid Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical. We will not leave. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15.
Guys, there is no more important issue in America today than immigration. Hear from Mediaite, originally from Fox News, Ann Coulter talking to Sean Hannity about immigration. The first voice you're going to hear very briefly is Senator Chuck Schumer, liberal moron, talking about letting all the illegals stay. And then what follows is the instructive part. So let's listen.
We will not leave these 11 million people in immigration limbo forever.
Thank you, Marco Rubio. Remember to thank Marco when you see him tonight on TV during the debate. Item from conservativetribune.com. An illegal immigrant from the United Arab Emirates was recently arrested in Florida and charged with unlawfully possessing ammunition, a charge that could result in up to 10 years in federal prison and automatic deportation. According to Breitbart, the United States Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida recently announced the charges against 25-year-old Hamid Mohammed Ahmed Ali Rahafe, who was found living in a hotel in Melbourne. Rahafe had been living out of the hotel for at least the past 53 days, checking in and out on a daily basis, spending more than $11,000 in cash for the various room fees. Unquote. My friends, does it strike you the way it strikes me that anytime you hear about people being arrested because they've got weapons, because they've got that it's always someone with a Muslim name? Just coincidence. Item from the Sons of Liberty. James Hansen, former NASA scientist who's considered the father of global awareness of climate change, has condemned the recent climate change talks in Paris, in which the leaders of nearly 200 nations gathered to determine how best to fleece taxpayers and industry in the name of environmentalism and socialist redistribution. As reported by The Guardian, Hansen said, quote, "It's a fraud, really, a fake. It's just bull for them to say we have a 2 centigrade warming target and then try to do a little better every 5 years. It's just worthless words. There's no action, just promises. As long as fossil fuels appear to be the cheapest fuels out there, they will be continued to be burned," unquote. Man-made global warming, my friends, is nonsense. Man has little to do with it. Man can just not at all affect the planet's environment. And liberals want you to believe that. It's because they're reaching for your wallet. We'll take a break. More Real Truth. All done, guys. I will see you tomorrow.